There is a window of time that old turkey hunters in this country guarded, like it was a closely held and deeply protected family secret. It is not dawn, and it is not the first gobble you hear at fly down. It is not even that so-called golden hour that every single hunting show tells you to wake up extra early and go chase every spring without fail. It is a forgotten and almost invisible stretch of hours that sits right in the middle of the day, when most hunters have already quit hunting, packed up all of their calls, and driven back home to sit on the couch. And during that exact window of time, more longbeards have been taken than most people in this sport would ever dare to believe is possible. One old-timer from a small rural town deep in Alabama, who spent over 40 full springs chasing gobblers on heavily pressured public land, once told me something that completely changed the way I think about turkey hunting and how we approach this whole game from top to bottom. He said he took more toms between 10 in the morning and 2 afternoon than he ever did hunting at first light during the entire dawn window. Nobody in his circle of hunting buddies believed a single word of it. They laughed at him every chance they got and said he was just lucky. But the small handful of hunters who actually decided to try his method, who trusted that old man enough to stay in the woods past 9 o'clock, never went back to dawn-only hunting ever again for the rest of their lives. If this kind of buried and forgotten hunting knowledge is exactly what you have been searching for all this time, then subscribe right now to Silent Hunt Society and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Let me walk you through exactly why these hidden hours work so well, how to use them properly out in the real turkey woods during spring, and why the modern outdoor industry has never wanted you to hear about any of this forgotten and incredibly practical old knowledge at all. Here is the core problem with the way modern turkey hunting works today. Every single spring, millions of hunters all across the United States set their alarm for 4 in the morning without ever questioning it. They drive out to the woods in the dark while it is still pitch black. They stumble through the timber with a headlamp strapped on their head. They set up against a tree long before fly-down is even close to happen. They start calling hard and loud the very first second they hear gobble. And by 8:30 in the morning, most of them are completely done, sitting back in the truck drinking gas station coffee, feeling defeated, scrolling their phone, and seriously wondering what went wrong out there. The entire modern turkey hunting playbook from top to bottom is built around one single idea that every expert and every brand keeps repeating. Be there at dawn or do not even bother going out to the woods at all. Every hunting show on every channel on television repeats this advice. Every outdoor brand reinforces it hard in every piece of their marketing. Every social media post shows a beautiful gobbler strutting at sunrise. And that one single idea that sounds so perfectly logical and right is costing turkey hunters way more birds than they will ever realize. Here is what actually happens out in the real turkey woods after sunrise. At first light, every tom within earshot gobbles hard and loud on roost. They sound fired up and aggressive and ready to come to any hen call. Every single hunter in the whole area immediately thinks today is it. But then that tom flies down from his roost branch to the forest floor, and within just a few very short minutes, he walks straight and directly to the real live hens that have been roosting in the nearby trees all night. Those live hens pull him away from you hard in the opposite direction, before your calls ever had a single real chance to even matter at all. For the first full hour or two of legal light, you are not hunting a tom that is willing and ready, and searching for any hen sound in the timber. You are directly competing against real live breathing female turkeys. And real live birds will win that competition every single time. No matter how good your calling is or how perfectly you have your setup positioned, that is not a flaw in your calling technique or anything you did wrong. That is just basic spring turkey biology doing exactly what it does best. A tom in the spring will always follow a live hen over a mouth call without a single moment of hesitation, no matter what call you're using. But here is the part that changes everything about this whole approach. And this is exactly what those old hunters understood so much better than anyone walking around in the modern turkey woods today carrying new gear. By mid-morning, around 9 or 10, those hens begin to leave the toms. They move off quietly to their hidden nesting sites deep in the cover. They sit down on their eggs, and they stay right there the entire day. They completely disappear from the equation that has been holding him. And suddenly that same strutting tom who ignored every call you made at dawn is now wandering the timber completely alone without company. No hens beside him anymore, and no reason at all to stay in one spot. He is lonely and restless, and actively searching the woods around him for any female sound echoing through the quiet mid-morning timber. Right now, during this forgotten and overlooked window of the whole day, he is far more likely to come to your soft call than he was at dawn, when he had real live hens surrounding him on every side of the roost. This is the hidden window that almost nobody ever talks about anymore. Roughly 9:30 in the morning, all the way to 1 in the afternoon, sometimes stretching to 2 or even 2:30 on the right conditions. Old experienced hunters used to call this exact window the second shift. The smartest ones among them planned their entire day around this window, instead of packing up and quitting right after the dawn hunt went quiet. They would hunt the dawn setup just like every other hunter out there. But when the woods went silent around 8 or 9 in the morning hours, they did not head for the truck like everyone else around them always did. They sat against a comfortable tree and waited with patience and focus, because they knew from decades of hard-earned experience in the field that the real golden opportunity of the entire day was still on its way. Most people think this midday window is just lucky timing and nothing more. But this is not luck, and it never has been about luck in any way at all. This is a repeating biological pattern that happens every single spring, across every turkey population, in every single state where they exist. Hens leave their toms behind to sit quietly on their nests in cover. Gobblers get abandoned and start roaming the timber searching for sound, and the woods open up wide for the one patient and stubborn hunter left who refused to quit early when everybody else had already driven home. This is exactly the kind of practical and useful hunting knowledge that the modern outdoor world buried under shiny, new and expensive products. There are a whole lot more buried and forgotten lessons just like this, hidden under expensive gear and bad mainstream advice and convenience. If you want the full collection of everything that got buried over time, I put every piece of it together inside the Forbidden Hunter's vault. The link is right there in the description, waiting for you to find it. But stay with me, because there is a specific calling technique for this hidden window that completely changes the game when you apply it right. Now here is where most hunters mess up, even when they do stay out late. They keep calling the same aggressive way they were calling hard at dawn. Loud yelps and aggressive cuts and fast, high-energy calling sequences designed to fire up a roosted gobbler and pull him straight off the limb. But during the second shift, that aggressive approach totally backfires. The whole energy of the woods has completely changed by that time of day. A loud, aggressive call breaking through that calm and peaceful silence sounds completely unnatural and pressured to a lonely, cautious gobbler. Here is exactly what those experienced old-timers did so differently. They switched to the absolute softest calls they could possibly make. 3 gentle yelps followed by just a couple of lazy little clucks. Then long stretches of complete silence between each calling sequence, sometimes waiting 20 full minutes of total silence before calling. They sounded like the very last lonely hen left alive in the county. Not desperate and not aggressive, but just quietly and peacefully there. That subtle natural sound drifting through the quiet mid-morning woods was like a magnet pulling in a lonely gobbler with nowhere else to go. Old-timers in Missouri perfected this method, sitting down around 10, giving 3 soft yelps into the timber, then putting the call away. 20 minutes later, a gobbler would appear like a ghost through trees, walking straight toward them without a single extra call needed at all. There is another huge reason why these overlooked hours produce so well. By 9 or 10, almost every other hunter in the area has already left. The trucks are gone and the slamming doors and footsteps are all done. The woods have fully settled back down to their normal, natural quiet. That same gobbler, who was pressured hard by 5 hunters hammering calls at him non-stop since dawn, has now completely relaxed and is moving free. You are essentially hunting a totally unpressured and responsive bird on public land right in the middle of the busy spring turkey season. That is an advantage that absolutely no amount of money can buy you. Now let me be completely straight and honest with you about this method. This strategy is not a magic trick, and it will not work every single day. If the hens have not started nesting yet very early on in the season, the toms may stay with them for the entire morning and afternoon long. The way to handle that is focusing this second shift window specifically. During the 2nd and 3rd week of your local spring turkey season, when nesting activity among the hens is hitting its absolute peak. One more layer that most hunters completely miss when trying this method. Where you set up during the second shift matters just as much as when. By mid-morning, that gobbler has moved a long way from his roost area. He is cruising travel corridors through timber looking for hen sounds. Logging roads and field edges and ridgeline saddles and creek bottoms funnel his movement into predictable paths through the landscape around. Old hunters scouted these paths during the off-season and marked them, then hunted the route the bird was actually going to walk that morning. Here is your simple 4-step plan to put this whole method to work now. Step 1 is scout for travel corridors like logging roads and saddles. Step 2 is set up at dawn if you want, but do not leave at 8:30. Step 3 is relocate between 9:30 and noon to a corridor setup, sit against a wide tree, give 3 soft yelps, then wait 20 minutes. Step 4 is repeat with patience and give it 3 consecutive mornings. If you want more forgotten tricks just like these hidden second shift hours, the Forbidden Hunter's Vault is in the first link right below this video. There was a generation of turkey hunters who never owned a single piece of what we now call modern hunting gear or modern outdoor field equipment. They had a shotgun and a hand-carved box call and patience and knowledge and a deep understanding of how a gobbler moves through every single hour. They did not hunt by the clock, and they did not quit when dawn was over. They hunted by the bird, and they read the woods all around them always. That knowledge is still out there waiting for the right hunter to use it. If this kind of forgotten fieldcraft speaks to you, then subscribe now to Silent Hunt Society, and I will see you in the very next video.